Moon gang. Hello. What is going on, all you beautiful apes? Hope you're having a great Tuesday morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is. Let's get all hooked up here. Let's make sure we're talking to the right people. Folks. Ooh, we're a little low today. There we go. What is going on? Happy Tuesday. What is it? Tuesday, September 21st, and we are kind of eyeing up an interesting potential turnaround Tuesday. Yesterday, not the best day for the entire market. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and the S&P 500 dropped 1.7%. The NASDAQ 100 dropped 2.2%. Russell 2000 dropped 2.4%. AMC was down 9%. GME was down 6.25%. Many stocks were very much in the red. And there's a couple things going on. A couple very important things going on. If you search this, and really even what I was focusing on in my update video yesterday was there's a lot of external pressure from Evergrande. Evergrande is the second biggest real estate developing company in China, but beyond that, there are a lot more. I think they have a theme park, like they either do or used to own a soccer team. Very big company that's been around since about, I think, 1996. But anyway, what you need to know about it is there was a perfect storm that put this massive company on tilt, the definition of a debt crunch. But it had about $305 billion in debt, and there were some social, societal pressures going on that related to housing prices spiking in Asia, where it primarily develops. And with that, and then you factor in a little bit of this COVID, it just got into a bad situation where its business model fell apart, and that the debt is coming due. And it very much looks like, I mean, if we look at the chart, it's taken a very like year-to-date returns on the company on Evergrande is about an 85% decline. In the past week, it's fallen 30%. The wheels are coming off of this one. And the reason why, like, you could ask, okay, well, why would one company have such like an impact, like one company going down? Like, we've seen this before. Why would one company's demise impact not only the Asian market, but the global market? And the reason is because of how many people it was associated with and to what degree. I mean, 305 billion, that's billion with a B. We're not talking million, we're talking billion. That's 2% of Asia's entire GDP, not Asia, excuse me, China's GDP. That's a big situation. There are many suppliers, subcontractors, people who are going to end up losing on this deal. They're going to lose a lot of money because just someone's not going to foot the bill. And that alone is obviously very bad of just the situation that it is becoming. But I don't know if that one alone would have really added up to what we saw in the market yesterday. So on top of this whole Evergrande situation and basically just $0.3 trillion in debt that's probably not going to be repaid. And I don't know, I'm seeing conflicting, like, I guess, opinions on if the government will or won't bail them out, as in their own government. But anyway, we'll figure that out as that storyline particularly develops. But what's interesting is there are other headwinds we're running into. So for example, the United States government is currently in political gridlock between our own debt ceiling and moving the ceiling and taking care of that. And I believe that our politicians returned from recess yesterday, which is just insane. Like, you'd think that this is a serious issue that they're not really going to take like a break in between figuring out. So anyway, we're worrying about our own debt ceiling. On top of that, the Federal Reserve they're actually meeting today and tomorrow. The minutes will get released tomorrow, Wednesday, September 22nd. And that's important because we're going to find out how they plan on handling the tapering of the asset purchases. So if they're going to be really aggressive with their tapering, as in like, you know what, this is enough, we're done, that's not going to be good. But if they kind of do it more, I don't know, it's expected that they're going to do it. It's just to what degree and how fast are they going to stop all this bond purchasing, all the asset purchasing. And on top of all that, the little cherry to throw on the top of this weird Sunday we've been building, there is seasonal weakness in the second half of September, which is where we're at right now. For seasonality, you could check it out on the website Equity Clock. I in no way have any affiliation with them, but I do think it's pretty cool. So we just have a couple things brewing in the background, and I think one of them individually wouldn't cause such an emotional panic that like we almost felt through the market, but we are where we are, and I don't think that any of this is going to be something that like I don't think that this is a scenario that truly leads into some sort of catastrophic sell-off. Maybe it will, but also if it does or doesn't, hey, we're here. We play it from level to level. We pay attention to support, to resistance. We play it from tranche to tranche to tranche. If the market and the stocks go up, down, sideways, there is a way to play it. There is a way to make money. And I don't want people to panic. Like, don't think that you can exclusively make money by like going long in a particular stock and sitting there for years and decades and that type of stuff. Hey, we can make money. Like shout out to some of the people in the Discord last night, or actually yesterday, making a killing on SPY puts. I know some people are going to play some VIX puts today, as in they're betting on Turnaround Tuesday. For those of you who don't know about Turnaround Tuesday, it's this phenomena in the market where if there's a red Monday, especially a decline of greater than 1%, the stats, the odds very much favor a green Tuesday, hence why it's called Turnaround Tuesday. This is not something I've made up. This has been documented by many, many people in many, many books and many, many research papers. It's a very well-known phenomena. Turnaround Tuesday, red Monday, especially in excess of 1%, commonly leads to a strong Tuesday. And that's what we're living right now in the moment. The market's about to open up in just over 20 minutes, and I am betting on a Turnaround Tuesday. Now, you could play that a couple different ways. And obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell anyone what to do or what not to do. But I just want to remind everyone that playing SPY, IWM, QQQ calls may not be your best idea. And this is just my reasoning. Obviously, you should do what you want. But remember, when you're playing calls, you are betting on various things outside of just the value of the underlying asset. So yes, you are betting on price. You want it to trend up if you buy a call. But on top of that, you have time because you're playing an options contract. Obviously, as you get closer and closer to expiration, it picks up exponentially the amount of theta decay that is hurting you. But a very, very important thing is volatility. So yesterday, if you check out the VIX or UVXY or any of those, right here, this is the volatility of the S&P 500. So as the S&P 500 sells off, the VIX is going to go up. They move inversely of each other in most circumstances. So if you're betting on the SPY going up today, and you're like, hang on, I want to buy a call, don't forget that an important aspect of any options pricing is volatility. And if you're betting on the SPY going up, you're inherently betting on volatility coming down. So even if you get the direction of your call correct today, tomorrow, Friday, you might be in trouble because volatility could be dying off. So even if you get direction right, your premium, your option still could lose value because volatility is moving in the opposite way. So in environments like this, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because I was personally burned on it back when the Rona first hit in February, March of 2020, really in March. I was playing puts on the way down. I made money and I was like, oh, I'll play calls on the way up. And even though I was right about the direction and the market started to bounce, I got seriously beat up and actually ended up losing money on the second half of that trade because the volatility like jumped off a cliff. And because the volatility dropped so much, it basically, I lost so much value in my premiums. So I just want to clarify that to everyone that if you want to play the market bounce back today, if that's something that interests you, I would personally say you have to be very, very careful with calls. Maybe you want to buy SPY, QQQ, IWM directly. Maybe you want to play it in more of an intricate way by getting some puts on volatility, because if you're looking for the market to go up, like I said, that's inherently that you think volatility is going to be dropping, so you could get puts on volatility. I know we're getting in a little bit into the weeds, and if you have questions on it, obviously, like, feel free to ask, and we could talk about it more when the market gets going. But I'm just seeing a lot of things on Twitter that people are specifically calling out, like SPY, IWM, Q, like these calls. And there is a time and place for calls. But right now with the overall market, I don't personally believe it's a time. If anything, if I see AMC or GME base today, and like we see some strength going over into tomorrow, that might set up some nice call opportunities for like the October timeframe, like early to mid-October, a little bit out of the money. But obviously, this is a good discussion when we see the market develop, and we could check out the options chain and we can build off of that. But I just wanted to share a couple thoughts on the overall market because it is very important. Last night, if you didn't know about it, crypto not looking the best. Ethereum is selling off of 3,700 down to, it actually went sub 3,000. Bitcoin went from 49,000 down to, at one point, it was just above 40,000. Cardano went from 280 all the way down to 2. Hex went from 51 cents all the way down to 36 cents. Like, we're just seeing a lot of volatility, and the bears currently seem to be in control of crypto. So for me, I'm still bullish on crypto. I still have my crypto. I'm not selling my crypto. If anything, I'm just looking for the momentum to start to change back to the other side where I could actually have a nice dip buy on the entire crypto environment right now. Just waiting, patience. And honestly, this might be the time I can finally get into Solana. I don't have any Solana. I want Solana. I'm basically just waiting for Solana to, in one way or another, just kind of break out of this downward trend. When I see some strength, when I see it getting bought back up, that's when I'm going to hop onto the Solana chain. Interesting, actually, literally just this morning, I was attempting my best to learn about proof of time. So we have Bitcoin, which is proof of stake. We have Cardano. Bitcoin is proof of work, Cardano, proof of stake, and then we have Solana, which is proof of time. So we just have all these different consensus models that are really starting to gain traction, and it's cool to learn about. But I do like this one. If you haven't heard of it, their utility is actually kind of related directly to us here in the finance sector. They're attempting their best to pivot, to position themselves to help get the entire financial market on the blockchain. And I obviously hope that they're successful with their undertaking. Just so you know, let's go over AMC and GME specifically. So AMC, to start today off, they've already borrowed 637,000 shares against it with a short interest of 18.73%. Shares on loan, 104.65 million, utilization 91%. In terms of GameStop, they've already borrowed 132,000 against it today with a short interest estimated of 13%, utilization 38%, shares on loan of 7 million. In terms of the technicals on these two moon stocks that we pay so much attention to, so we are gapping up today on AMC by about 1%. So I like it. Green is good. Yesterday, we were pushed below this trend line that was formed between August 11th and August 20th. But at the end of the day, the last hour, the last half hour, we saw buyers stepping back into the market, and it was able to close right on top of this trend line. And right now, we're gapping up relative to yesterday's close. So I'm looking for a reversion, and I'm still calling out this gap fill at 44.20. I hope that this comes obviously sooner rather than later, and I do think that the odds favor that. But once again, my first target is this gap fill from September 17th, the low at 44.20. So that's definitely, I would say, in the short term, my game plan of what I'm looking for in AMC. In terms of GME, also gapping up today by about 1% relative to yesterday's close. We found support between 188, 190. We have this wick, same thing. The last hour, half hour, people started buying it back up. I'm looking for GME to retake 200, which has been so incredibly important for GameStop lately. After that, there's a little bit of a hiccup around 208.50, and then from there I'm still watching that region from 212 to 215. So the name of the game today is very much, will we get that turnaround Tuesday? A lot of people are talking about it, a lot of people are betting on it, but now we have to just sit back and see if that bet is a good bet or not. We see that the market's gapping up by 0.5%. I shouldn't say gapping up, but I mean, I guess it is technically compared to yesterday's close. Very, very, very much looking for things to go green today. We're looking to follow through on Turnaround Tuesday. Will it happen? I have no idea. Do the odds say that it is more likely for that to happen than not happen? Yeah, but I mean, also, you're supposed to win most of the hands that you're dealt pocket aces, but that doesn't mean you're going to win every hand. We're doing our best to play the odds. We're doing our best to play the statistics, and we have to just sit back and see how this actually ends up pulling off. All right. Not that it matters, but is AMC on Ssr today? Yes, it is. So there's a good chance you're going to hear more about Ssr, short sale restriction. Short sale restriction is basically when a stock drops 10% relative to its previous day's close, 10% or more, it's put on Ssr. And it remains on Ssr for the entirety of that day, whatever's left in that trading session, and then the entire trading day the next day. So yesterday, AMC dropped more than 10% at one point within the day. So that means it's on Ssr for from whenever it was hit yesterday for the remainder of the day, and then it's also on it the entire day today. What is Ssr? When you search it, short sale restriction, you're going to find information about what's called the uptick rule. So basically, it's attempting to stop the dog pile effect. So it's saying you can only take a new short position if in the scenario the stock is actually trending upward. So if it's trending downward, you can't take a new short position. And when I'm saying you, it's more of the editorial you. There are some people who are exempt from this, i.e. market makers. So even if a stock is like just selling off, and you're on Ssr, most people are banned from shorting it, i.e. dog piling onto it, but market makers are not. Market makers, it's referred to as short exempt. If they believe that the environment is still appropriate for them to short, they can still take a short position. It does not protect us as much as people think it does, or really as much as it's like, I don't know, put on a pedestal, be like, look it, we're going to stop it. Over the past 6 months, every time that I've been watching some of these crazy moving stocks on Ssr, it does not seem like the uptick rule really protects us as much as I guess it's presented and showcased and highlighted to present us. So yes, AMC is on it. I don't know off the top of my head here. I could look this up. If GME is, I believe this information could be found on Stonko Tracker. Let me just double check really. Yeah, Stonko Tracker. Let me just double check this. So Ssr is on for AMC. Let me just check GME. It is off for GME. So just so everyone knows a little bit more about Ssr, but I don't know. I don't think it's bad. Like, it doesn't hurt us, I would say. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm against it. But it doesn't protect us as much as people like to say it protects us. What else do we have? Been in AMC since before $5. Bring on the fire sale. Shout out Edgar. What's going on, man? Suddenly I feel less alone. Shout out Tommy's Touch. Can we get check the chart on ANY? Nicholas, of course we can. ANY, so it's kind of just at the support. So we have previous resistance, this cup, the handle, the explosion, and then it's been dancing around right at $6. Support. So really, you're looking for it to hold 6. Yesterday, it looks like it closed at 575, but today we're gapping up above 6. You're looking for it to really just start pushing upward, and I would love to see it above 680, the high from September 17th, for like just to represent that some bulls are stepping in and excited to get it pushed above 760. Right here, the name of the game on ANY, Ssr 3D, it is related to kind of the Bitcoin mining world. With it, Bitcoin miners are interesting because you have to weigh out two separate things: the business, the fundamentals, and the competition within Bitcoin mining, and then also crypto itself. So we know, I mean, as I was just showing you, crypto right here, not looking the best. So that's a little bit of a headwind for any crypto miner. And I'm talking ANY, Mara, Riot, all of those. Like, obviously, if crypto's not as high, that's not as good. But then on top of that, you have to worry about the like inter-business competition between all these miners. So that's something to consider. But from a technical perspective, you're looking for it definitely to stay above 6. Good morning, Sir Duck. Thoughts on what ETH will do today? People say it will continue to drop today. Ethereum today specifically, it is looking heavy, which pains me to say because I have quite a bit of Ethereum. But I do think that 3,000 will act as a pretty considerable support. But my thoughts on let's like take Ethereum specifically. The farther it drops, I strongly just believe the better the opportunity is. I am not an active crypto trader. I buy crypto that I like on major dips, and I'm planning on holding it for multiple years. And Ethereum is no different. If I see Ethereum sub 3,000, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if we somehow see Ethereum sub 2,500, sub 2,000, what an amazing opportunity it is. Can you check out TMC for us? TMC, I haven't been too hot on. I know some people are interested in it. It's just not, I mean, it almost made a new all-time low yesterday. It made its second lowest trade ever. I mean, before this, we saw 831. Yesterday, we saw 852. I'm a technical trader, and I'm just not seeing, we see over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days that the close is lower than the open. I'm just not seeing many buyers in this. And I think people who got caught up into it, I don't know who necessarily, like, who is pushing it or why TMC was getting people excited. We only have information basically from September 7th until now. And even on that information we have, this looks like a shotgun shot. Like, there's no clear trend. It's just kind of a mess. Trading is difficult enough on nice trending charts. And then when you throw in a chart that just is like, it's a scatter plot. This is just randomness. I think it makes it even more difficult. If you're in it, I wish you the best of luck, but this is not something I would personally mess around with, just because I'm looking for the low-hanging fruit, folks. I am looking for a nice trend that I can get a piece of. This seems like to be a very difficult. I mean, ever since it started moving, September 7th until now, it's only had 2 green days. I mean, you're looking at, 8 red days and 2 green days? It just, I don't know. I don't know what people see in TMC. I feel like I'm missing something because I see that a lot of people are talking about it. But if you're in it, I do wish you the best of luck, but it's just not something I'm willing to trade. It just seems like a messy trade. Can you check out KLR? Of course. All right, we have about 8 minutes, so let's just keep this rocking. KLR, what is this? It's a specialty telecom company. So, I mean, there is an interesting gap fill play that maybe it looks like it wants to fill today, 1060. I don't know if I would necessarily play it because it's already at 1040, and so just to get 20 cents on a $10 stock might not be worth it. But other than that, if it continues to show strength, specifically, man, once it gets back above 1150-ish, you might keep pushing, but you are somewhat trying to catch a falling knife because all it's done all of September is sell off. So I wouldn't want to see a very obvious U-turn like we've seen previously. For most recently, late August. But the risk reward is there. I mean, risking $1, the most recent relative low around 9 and some change, to hopefully ride this back up to 13. The risk reward's there. I guess I would need to look more into the company, but I would be patient and wait for buyers to step in on this one. Would I check out BBQ? I mean, I love barbecue, so I'm inherently in support of it, but also it looks like we kind of have a double bottom situation and some strength. I mean, this thing is trying to break out of resistance at 1650. If it does, I would then be watching closer to 1950. I'm seeing strength in the chart. I really do like the higher lows. It's bending back around, breaking out of levels of resistance. The RSI is a bit high on the daily chart, so I wouldn't say it's like a 5-star setup. I would want to look a little bit into the option chain and see how built out it is. But the risk is a little bit wide. It's about a $4 risk for a $3 reward. So I don't know if the risk reward's necessarily there, but I do see strength in the chart. How do you feel about ATR? ATER? ATR, it's looking strong. ATR is interesting because it has a high short interest, a lower float, high utilization. The moving average is starting to bend back around. We know that ATR has been in discussion with this FTD short squeeze methodology. And as True Demon was mentioning yesterday, it's starting to, if you haven't seen his Reddit post on like the type of strategy he's been employing with this, just so you know, it is starting to check off all of his boxes. It looks like it's gapping up by 60 cents. I'm looking for the push and hold above the lower 13s. And from there, I think this thing could rip to 15 and then potentially 19. But we are seeing some strength in ATER. It's definitely worthwhile to have on your watch list. Let me just get that added. All right, what other questions? Sorry if I missed it. Can you check BBIG? BBIG, how's that one looking? BBIG, so it caught itself at support yesterday. We have this, what, a 7-cent gap up today. BBIG, it pushed, it sold off. You just need that momentum to actually swing back around. I would say you could be confident of people stepping back in if we really start pushing that $9 mark, and it's currently trading at $7.30. But ever since September 10th, obvious downtrend, you're looking for that trend to break. You could probably check out the MACD, depending on what time frame you care about. It did cross over into the bearish territory on September 16th. So maybe if you want to go with a smaller time frame, like the 2-hour or the 4-hour, looking for this to cross, maybe even with a technical breakout of 9, that's one way you could watch BBIG. Riley Reed, thank you for that super emote. Nicholas Smith, I appreciate the full transparency and honesty you bring to this community, not to mention the extensive knowledge toolbox. Shout out, Nicholas. That's very kind. Very, very kind. I hope you have an amazing day, man. Hi, Matt. Thoughts on PFE calls October 15th, 48. So Pfizer. All right, we could do the technicals. So with this one, you're still kind of looking for this to get out of its own trend, which it very well might be doing today. If Pfizer breaks out of its bear trend from late August, it does give more credence to that thought of, okay, I want to do these calls. But with it, beyond this technical setup you have going on, and also just so you know, your first watch would pretty much be right here at 45. We have some resistance and we have some support and some resistance. I would be watching 45.5. But anyway, beyond that, this one, you would want to be up to date on what is or isn't going on with shots. Is Pfizer going to be making booster shots? Are they going to be selling the booster shots? What's the cost? How many people are getting it? What about the trials in people who are younger than whatever the current cutoff is? This is not me giving a political statement on shots and who should or shouldn't be giving shots. This is me saying, if you care about this as a stock and you're curious if it's going to be going up, it would be beneficial for you to look into, okay, what's Pfizer doing? Are they giving out more shots? Are they selling them? What are their profit margins? You have all that to look into. So I don't want anything for me in my comments on Pfizer to be somehow conflated with some big political statement. No, it's a business statement. Are they making a lot of shots? Are people going to be using a lot of their shots? Are they making a lot of money on their shots? Because all of that will come into play over the next month or two of the success of it as a stock and how the chart will perform. Good morning, Matt. Would you please be kind enough to give your input on URI? Is this another uranium one? Nope. United Rentals. What does this? Financial rental leasing. So I wonder if this has some going to be influenced by all the Evergrande stuff. But anyway, the first thing I would see on this one is a gap fill up to 338, especially if we get above yesterday's high at 333.71. What are we at? Pre-market, we are at 331. So if this gets pushing a little bit, I do think it's an interesting gap fill play up to 338. In terms of more of a medium to longer term, I don't know much about it. I do see that the MACD is kind of in the bearish territory. Not the nicest bull trend ever since mid-August, but you never know. It could obviously break. I mean, I would be watching this top trend line. If you like the company, maybe you know more about it than I do, but in the very short term, I would just be curious if it can capture 338. Pretty easy gap fill setup. The risk, maybe not the most obvious, nicest risk. I mean, I guess you could risk 325. I would be interested in risking 325, but ding, ding, ding. Oops. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is open. let's get going, folks. Let me drop to the 1 minute. Let's see how everything's coming out of the gate today. Remember, we are talking about Turnaround Tuesday. Let's see what kind of strength there is or isn't. Open the casino. Let the kids play. All right. Let's see how this is all going. So out of the gate, we see AMC going green, IWM going green, GME, we're seeing a red bar, and S&P 500 also seeing a red bar on that one. Interesting. What is the overall market doing today? Looks red. Looks red. Come on, this is supposed to be Turnaround Tuesday. What's with all these early morning jitters it has? It looks like it needs to, I don't know. It looks like the market maybe had a rough night last night. Like, what's going on here? Where are the buyers at? I was pitched this whole thing about Turnaround Tuesday. Where are they at? I'm being a bit facetious, people, just so everyone knows I'm not. Remember, we like to sit on our hands for the first 15 minutes and see how things truly are or aren't panning out. Calm, cool, collected. AMC currently trading just above 41.20. GME's at 195, trying to hold on to this level of support and resistance depending on what side of it we're at. IWM, it did shoot up to 219, now it's down to 218.5. SPY selling off from 436.75 down $1 to 435.75. So let's see if we can get this nice recovery. Thanks for being the realest guy out there. I found your channel back in March. You've taught me so much and changed my life. I love you, bro. Keep up the incredible work. I'd like to talk to you on Twitter. Spitfire Gaming. I very much appreciate that. Those are super kind words. You're making me smile, man. Probably the best way to get a hold of me is to DM me on Twitter, but I say that very hesitantly just because, as I was showing people yesterday, I am not getting any notification updates, and I'm getting DMs, but they're coming in very late, like almost 1 to 2 days late. Love the channel. Can you give me some TA on NVIDIA support resistance bullish today? Thanks for all you do for the community. Yeah, we'll definitely pull up NVIDIA. Let me write that down. And shout out to Daryl Milner for becoming an astronaut. Shout out, Daryl. Welcome to the group. All right, let me just write NVIDIA down so I don't forget about it. Let me write it down. Where are my notes? Where are my notes? Notes. Wow, a lot of scribbles on this. I might need a new notebook, folks. I definitely need a new book. We're running out of pages. All right. Let's start with our trading journal today. What is it? Tuesday the 21st. Tuesday the 21st, 21. Dear Diary, I was told it's Turnaround Tuesday. Win Lambo. All right. We got our diary started on the day, and it looks like also to the diary we need to add NVDA. NVDA, big fan of NVIDIA. Brad Campbell becoming an astronaut. Shout out, Brad. Max Dennison, you lit the backflame candle. You virgin, much love. Shout out, Daniel. Shout out, Daniel. All right, AMC kind of dancing around trying to figure out what it wants to do today, and this is kind of expected, folks. Team. I'm telling you, you got to just chill, calm, cool, collected those first 15, 20, 30 minutes. We are in a weird, more interesting, precarious time right now, so let's just be calm, let's be cool, let's be collected, let's be like robots. So like, let's use our if then statements. If this happens, then we'll do that. If your if is not hit, then don't do anything. Stay calm, cool, collected. Just listen to some random guys that yell at a camera in their basement. All right, let me get going here. As we're waiting for all of this to really develop on the day, if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could gently tap the like button. I see a lot of people, it's this whole concept of being hyper aggressive and to your like button, like destroy it, annihilate it, break it. Folks, I don't know if I could support that. Like, I would just appreciate a quick like, just a quick tap. Let's not break anything. It does help out with the algorithm. And don't forget, if you want to be a member of the Moon Gang, all you have to do is subscribe, follow, all that stuff, completely free. I do appreciate the support. I see some people saying ATER is moving. ATER is moving. 1325, the low 13s was what we were watching. Let's see if it could hold this. ATER, it's setting up. It is looking nice. I do admit that. I want to see some volume pour in above 13, and I want it to hold above this 13 level. Brian, becoming an astronaut. FFIE, cup and handle. Also look at BBIG Vortex. They are planning to try and drop it. Read the ticker on AMC Weeble. Sally, I'm sorry, I don't quite know. Like, do you want me just to click on it so it pops up over here as the main information? Sorry, I think I'm having a slight misunderstanding. My apologies, Sally. FFIE, cup and handle. All right, what's FFIE? Let me put that on the list, but in the meantime, we can look up the BBIG Ortex number. FFIE. Okay, FFIE. We are looking on Ortex. All right, BBIG. Probably helps if I spell it. Vinco Ventures. So the short interest is 27%. They've borrowed $3.34 million against it. The shares on loan is at this point in the realm of 28 million, and the utilization is 92%. So those are the numbers we're starting off with BBIG. I mean, when you have any highly shorted stock like this, that's quite a bit of a short interest, 27%. Of course, people are trying to knock it down. That's how apparently 28 million shares worth of people are attempting to get it down. Like, that's how they're going to make their money. All right, what do we have? People, I see a lot of commentary on LCID. How's LCID looking right now? Looking good. LCID up 4.7%. Lucid Motors, it's a nice EV play. This is one that, to me, it's a bit of a passive investment. I'm not an active LCID investor. I just like it because I'm a fan of the EV sector. And Lucid Motors is specifically filling an appetite for the luxury high-end EV demand within the US. It's a relatively new company. It did get to the public market through a SPAC acquisition deal. It was Churchill Investment, whatever it was. It was another SPAC vehicle. And that was actually back here in Feb. And then that's when it sold off. And it looks like it's now finally fighting back. I like LCID. I've been in it. I've been through huge swings on this. And that's why it's more of a part of just like my longer term investment. I'm not actively trading it, but I personally think it's a good medium to long-term bet. Most recently, ever since September 1st, September's been a great month for LCID. It's up 58% in September. I would like to see it get above this 28 to 30 region. It's at resistance right now, but I do believe it's headed up to 28.30. I want to see how it reacts to this zone. That's going to be definitely a level of supply. So LCID, we're at a little bit of resistance right now, but I'm more interested in the 28 to 30 zone is how I would want to see it react. And I would want to see the bulls and the apes step up in that zone roughly. All right. Are we getting our turnaround Tuesday that everyone's been talking about? All right. We're pushing. ATER, it's holding above 1325. ATR, we were talking about it a little bit pre-market, showing some strength. It's flexing. AMC just below 41. It's at 40.84, and then GME's at 192.26. Ticker says, what are they hiding? Institutions are trading a ton of AMC on dark pool. Institutions commonly trade on dark pool. pools. That's not, to me, like that crazy of a thing. That's when people are attempting to create and sell off large positions, create and unwind large positions, big institutions are going to use dark pools. Why are they going to use dark pools? Well, because it's more competitive. It allows you to hide your buy orders and hide your sell orders. But still, I don't want anyone to be confused. All you're doing is hiding an order. As soon as your order is hit, it does have a material impact on price. There's no way to get around it. You cannot willy-nilly just buy or sell huge positions without having an impact on the price. People in this community specifically are overstating the nefarious nature of dark pools. I think dark pools could be more regulated. I don't think they're perfect. I have some personal issues with some aspects of them, but am I just inherently against dark pools? Well, no, and that's mainly because I understand how a dark pool is and what it does. In my personal assessment, payment for order flow at market makers are far more damaging to the market and our specific cause than dark pools are. That's what dark pools are. Like when you on Webull, you see the level 2 over there. A dark pool is the normal market, but without that, you just can't see the sitting buy orders and you can't see this sitting sell orders. There are going to be some people who try to pitch you the concept of trading on a dark pool has no impact on price. That's just factually inaccurate. No one who knows about the market would agree with that statement. Can you check XELA for me? Yes. All right. Let me check this really quickly down here. XELA, 1 million. XELA for its price has very low volume and it's just selling off. The bears are in control of XELA. Buyers have not been stepping into this since mid-July. I don't know why I was mixing July and June there, but the bears have been winning and you need to wait for the trend to actually break. People were asking about NVIDIA. So right here, right away, whenever I see one of these gaps, that does interest me. So NVIDIA... So to be very clear about NVIDIA, I don't actively trade it. I'm a long-term investor in NVIDIA. It's a decent portion of my long-term investment portfolio. I like NVIDIA, and in the short term, if you want to actively trade it, if we can get and hold above yesterday's high at 214, I would look for the gap fill up to 218 if you're looking for a quick little play. That's what I would recommend paying attention to on NVIDIA if you're more of a short-term person. But for me, NVIDIA, I just like to buy any major dips. If we can somehow get into the 180s, 190s, I'll just add more to my long-term portfolio and then just kind of forget about it. NVIDIA, I think, is a stock that you could buy on weakness and then you just forget about it. But big fan of it. FFIE trying to break out. FFIE looking strong right here. What is the short info on FFIE? Faraday Futures Intelligent Electric. So it's a smaller EV play. Short interest of 12.6%. Shares on loan 17 million. Utilization 100%. I'm unaware. What is this one trading on? It is trading on the... What? FFI, what market does this one trade on? It's trading on the NASDAQ. So I don't believe this one's on the threshold list, but in terms of technicals, it's showing some strength. Like right now, actively, it's trying to break out. FFIE it's flexing. You're a little late to the party. The entry was probably back here at 950 on September 16th. But so it's a little bit chasey right now, but if you are in it, I do admit it's flexing its muscles. It is on the threshold list. Was it just recently added? NASDAQ threshold. NASDAQ. Let me just double check this one. And I'll also list off some of the other ones that I see on it. So FFIE, definitely on it. So is ATER, BBIG. What other ones do I see? KPLT and WKEY. There are more on the list, but I was just listing off the ones that I recognize people asking me about throughout the day. Once again, ATER, BBIG, FFIE, KPLT, and WKEY, are all on the NASDAQ threshold list. Remember, there are different thresholds, like the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, does have its own as well. So you might want to double check that. The ones I just read up are for the NASDAQ. Okay, it's been, according to Wall Street Viking, it's been on the threshold list as an FFIE for the past 6 days on HLBZ. HLBZ, we did see, this was a Tiblio call out from yesterday on HLBZ. What a gap up. Whoa. This was all over Tiblio yesterday. Something had to happen. Was there an announcement? I mean, this thing is up 126%. I would want to dive into a bit of the news. I don't like when things gap up and go red. That's not generally the best sign. But what's happening here? It announced a partnership with Amazon. It's working with Fox to broadcast the championship, the Italian series. Volatility. It already had a volatility halt. Crazy. So it sounds like it's up on just partnership announcements. Like I said, from a technical perspective, I'm not the biggest fan when it gaps up and doesn't hold green. It's trading lower than its opening price, but regardless, it's still up 126%. Probably worthwhile to check a little bit throughout the day. So it sounds like HLBZ, Amazon, and Fox, two interesting, big, like noteworthy, I guess, partnerships. That's great for it. All right. So IWM trading down, but the SPY trading up. Interesting. I watched The Big Short and Loki. It looked exactly like this in a way, not the housing market, just obviously saying you're all ballers, by the way. Shout out hippie long stockings. Mary Newport asking about INRT. INRT. I think you most likely meant IRNT, not INRT. How's this one doing today? It is break even right now. I mean, it's a higher risk reward play. Like if you're okay with risking 26, if we can get above yesterday, like if this is just kind of the valley, like it shot up and right here, the bear's in control a little bit. If the bulls are attempting to regain it by pushing it above 33.85, if we get a nice close above that, about 80 cents higher, that could be some strength in IRNT. For me, it doesn't necessarily meet my trading criteria because it just started getting trading activity at the end of August. I like the chart to be built out a bit more. But hey, if you just like this recent strength, like if you think this is like, okay, it pushed, it took a breather, and it's going to push again, there is opportunity there. So it doesn't meet my checklist, but I could definitely see a world in where it's meeting many other people's checklists of what they do or don't care about. They're referring to a Benzinga article questioning why AMC's dark pool volume is so much higher than other stocks typically are. I would want to see it, and I would want to see the information because I see that quite a few people are AMC. Shares are trading lower Monday, overall weakness. I want the facts and figures. Investors might be interested in the fact that about 60% of the volume for the last 30 days has been traded by institutions over the dark pool compared to 40% on lit markets, and why only 8% of that 40% traded on the New York Stock Exchange. According to FinViz, the percentage of shorts still in the stock are 20% with a float of 448. So this is actually wrong. I'm surprised. I don't know who wrote this, but this shouldn't say that. Investors might be interested in the fact that about 60% of the volume over the last 30 days has been traded by institutions over the dark pool. The data I've seen, this should say traded by institutions off exchange. Off exchange is very different than dark pool. Off exchange does include dark pool, but it's mainly market makers. 60%. I would want to know their data source for that, because like the data that I've been seeing, at least for the month of August, does not suggest this whatsoever. A lot of people think that all their, I guess, inappropriately conflating off-exchange trading being exclusively dark pool, where that is just not the truth of the situation. The truth is there a lot of off-exchange trading? Yes, 100%. But that off-exchange trading is between market makers and dark pools, and I have not seen any facts or figures that say the dark pool exclusive trading is 60%. I've seen facts and figures that say off-exchange trading has been 60% of the overall volume, and I don't know where they're getting this. They didn't even like cite where they're getting this information, which I think is a little bit of a bummer. Yeah. I don't know the author, so I don't know how I would reach out or anything. It might be true. I have a couple red flags going off in my head just because it's contradictory to some of the information that's posted on FINRA's website itself, like on OTC transparency, like on the official government website. But with that, it could be true. I'll just reach out and I'll ask the author. Like I'll reach out to my contact at Benzinga and just ask. That may include some of the payment for order flow from the retail wholesaler. That it should, but then that would be no longer dark pool trading. I do think that 60% number is right. I just don't think it's all dark pool. I think a lot of that 60%, that subset of 60%, is most likely the retail wholesalers. Hey, Matt, I know you typically stay away from IPOs, but you mentioned interest in ARBK. You getting in early? ARBK? No. Wait, what is this one? I don't even know. The one IPO I would be interested in is Starlink. Is that the ticker? I don't think so. Let me see what ARBK is. Trading new IPOs is very, very tough. Argo blockchain. So someone asked me about it. This is a blockchain play. Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with that. I learned my lesson from Coinbase and their IPO. A lot of excitement, and it pumped for the first how many ever minutes, and then it sold off for multiple days in a row. I hope for the people who are in ARBK and the people in the company and everything, I hope it does better. But in terms of playing a crypto IPO, I learned my lesson with Coinbase. I don't need to make that mistake again. Stonko Tracker states the same percentage for dark pool. Stonko Tracker unfortunately gets quite a few things wrong on their. It's not like Stonko Tracker is a peer-reviewed data source that's like highly accepted by a lot of people. Stonko Tracker is very good for certain things, and it's like verifiably inaccurate for other things. So you have to take it kind of with, you have to dive into it. Like I said, they are very accurate with some things. I do like Stonko Tracker for certain facts and figures, but not all. Stonko Tracker, I would not say is generically a source of truth that we should all be using. Davin Foss becoming an astronaut. Shout out, Davin. Hey, man, I know you. All right, we talked about BB option plays. Play the tech analysis. BB options play the tech analysis. Why? BB options play the tech analysis. Wait, Matthew Soto. BB options play the tech analysis. Why? Sorry, Matt. I love the name. Great name. But I'm a little bit confused. BB options play the tech analysis. Why? I just need a little bit of clarification. So if you want, you could just tag a mod and like just try to maybe if you could just like restate that question a little bit so I could help you out. I hear you on dark pools, but if hedge fund only buys on dark pools in small quantity and sells in regular market at large quantities, wouldn't that affect the price? Yeah, but it would affect the price in the exact same way as if they did it all on lit exchanges. If they bought small quantities on lit exchanges and sold large quantities on lit exchanges or dark pools, there is no, the actual effect of the trade of like, okay, here is why people use dark pools. They use dark pools so other competitors in the market don't see their sitting orders. But if you're talking about the order actually being executed, of like the buying going through and the selling going through, it has the same exact impact on a dark pool as a lit exchange on anything. There's no difference. The difference for a dark pool and why people use a dark pool is so you don't see their sitting buy and sell orders. Because, for example, if someone's trying to buy $10 million worth of AMC and you have your order there, AMC is not liquid enough to instantaneously fill $10 million worth. So you're trying to get a fill without your competitors knowing, because you don't want them to run the price away from you and you don't get your fill. So it's a way of engaging in the market by keeping your cards closer to your chest so they don't see your sitting buy and sell orders. That's it. When the orders actually hit, it has the exact same impact as if you were trading on a lit exchange. This mechanism or this argument of people trying to pitch, they're buying on a lit exchange or on a dark pool and selling on a lit exchange and that runs the price down. That's wrong. They're not going to do that. And even if it were right, like even if I were to say for some reason, which it's not, that is possible, you would see supporters of AMC do the exact opposite. They would buy on a lit exchange and then sell on a dark pool to undo it. It just doesn't, it's not mechanically how a dark pool functions. And also, if it were, it just doesn't pass the logic test of like, okay, if the system's like that, obviously other people in the market would notice it. And then they would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to do the exact opposite so their position doesn't get hurt. Trust me, people like BlackRock and Vanguard and people who are invested in AMC and GME, they don't want to lose money either. They are very much looking for the stock to go up. So if this was a known mechanism of buying on a dark pool, then selling to an exchange to drive the price down, they would do literally the exact opposite. You think someone like BlackRock, who's managing billions and billions of dollars, doesn't know all the little loopholes and tricks of what they can and can't do? They would do literally the exact opposite. But the reason they're not doing the exact opposite is because the inherent thing that people are trying to pitch, like the first thing of buying on a dark pool and selling to an exchange to drive the price down, that doesn't exist in practice. That doesn't happen. From Denmark, Heidi from Denmark, shout out for becoming an astronaut. Hey Matt, been watching you for ages and made a lot of money thanks to you. Any chance you could take a peek at IRNT? Thanks for being you. Yes, IRNT. So good morning, sold off, kind of halfway in its range right now. Just so you know, AMC just broke below 40, unfortunately, on the day, as the SPY is also dipping ever since about 9:50 this morning. IRNT, you're looking for it to successfully bend around. I would like to see it close above 33.85 on the day. So it has about $1.40 to go. Because right now it's still technically in a downtrend since September 16th. So I would want to see a little bit more strength. Hey man, I put big puts on Chinese stocks NEO and XPIV to save P&L yesterday since the market was about it to get hit. Would you cut your positions? Wait, puts 33.35 October 1st and 8th. NEO. How's NEO looking? NEO is still trending downward. So if I were you, that one I think is fine. Maybe don't get overly greedy, but it's still trending in your direction. Same with XPEV. In the very short term, these are still both looking weak, which makes sense because the situation we're currently seeing because of Evergrande is not a good situation. October 1st is a little bit of a quick expiration. So I would want to lock in profits on that one a little bit sooner than later. But October 8th is a good time frame. And especially, I think you're going to need it a little bit more with XPEV. They use off exchange for the sub-decimal pricing they can get with retail orders, unlike the lit exchange. Lit exchanges have sub-decimal pricing as well. They might not represent it, and that sub-decimal trading is where a lot of market makers and high-frequency traders make their money. But you can see on the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, you could see trades come through that are like to the third decimal point. Oh, brother, question. Yesterday we got shorted, of course. However, what about the law and rule? Short exempt uptick can't profit from falling prices, but can't be done in a predatory way during a panic market. Yesterday was a panic market. Yesterday, Eric, and I talked about this in my update video, there was a net return on AMC, and I believe GME as well, but I know AMC. Yesterday, things were not highly shorted. That's just like not what the data was showing. Now, could they have carried over shares that were on loan from previous days and decided to actually short yesterday? Yeah, that is actually theoretically possible. But the amount of shares that were rented out to go short specifically yesterday, Monday, September 20th, was not that great of a magnitude. In fact, there was a net return, but that's not exactly indicative of when. Remember, taking shares on loan is very correlated, but not the exact same thing as going short. Remember, stocks go down because I think maybe there's some people out there who think stocks go down by shorting. That's not inherently true. It can be true, but that's not the only reason stocks go down. Stocks go down when there's more supply than there is demand at the current price. Where does supply come from? Supply comes from sellers. Sellers can be shorts, though. Selling is selling. The difference is, are you selling to create a position or are you selling to get out of a position? If you're selling to create a position, that means you're going short. If you're selling to get out of a position, that means you're cutting your long position. You're getting out of your long position. But selling is supply. Selling represents supply. If supply overwhelms demand, it goes down. So any form of selling does have a adverse effect on a stock. It doesn't necessarily have to be shorting. It's just anyone who's selling, whether you're creating a position or getting out of a position. Okay, well, that's up to the person, but selling is selling. All right, I think I'm up to date on that. Could you take a look at OPAD? Shout out Cootery, OPAD. So this one's kind of like IRNT. The same thing, and it's actually OPAD and IRNT, they seem to be moving like kind of similarly. Same thing, I would want to see this one actually successfully bend back around and close above yesterday's high of 1432 to like represent that buyers are actually stepping in. Thoughts on WKSP pre-order site for their solar covers went live this morning, looks to be reacting positively. Definitely. It's up 9% today. This is showing some strength. With it, my question to you is just, what would you risk? Would you risk $6.50, $1? Would you risk $1.50 then? It's just, with it, it is showing strength. It sounds like it has a fundamental push. I would want to check out the flow. Is there a big bullish bet going on in the options market related to WKSP? And on top of that, it's just, are you okay with the risk reward? The risk reward, in my opinion, is all right. But remember, everyone is different. They're accepting of different risk reward paradigms. Shout out Austin. Coffee's great. I used up the free order text, so I can't confirm. Someone said a boatload was borrowed against BBIG already today. Not sure how big of a boat they're talking about, but it sounds like a lot. BBIG, I'll check that out for today. Shout out Brambles. Vinco Ventures, the borrow against BBIG today is already 3.37 million. So that's an increase on the shares on loan by more than 10%. I think that's pretty noteworthy. The short interest relative from yesterday to today has gone up 13%. We've gone from 25.47 up to 27. Like it's definitely a noteworthy bet against BBIG. I saw some short exempt shares coming on FINRA. I don't remember if it was yesterday. I will have to look. There's a especially when SSR is on, there's a good chance that there's going to be short exempt. So for those of you who maybe this is your first time hearing about short exempt and you're like, that doesn't sound right, what is it? So when there's certain environments where you're not supposed to short, for example, SSR is on and the stock is trending downward, you're not supposed to take a short position, and most market participants can't take a short position. But you know who can take a short position? Market makers. That's what they are short exempt. So by their own definition, if they have good reasoning to go short, as in maybe they're attempting to provide liquidity or this or that or blah, 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 market makers, even environments when other people aren't allowed to short, market makers are still allowed to short based on their own, I guess, breakdown of the situation of if they're their own monitors in the situation. If they think it's appropriate, well, then they're allowed to go short exempt, or they're allowed to go short even when other people aren't, and it's called a short exempt. You're naturally going to see a spike in short exempts during SSR because they need the exempt to be able to go short because there's a rule against it at that moment in time. So whenever SSR is on, that's when you're naturally going to see a spike. But it's a market maker deal, not hedge funds, not prime brokers, not institutions, not retail. It's look at the market makers. All right, what are we doing? The SPY showing some weakness. I was looking for it to base right here at 436. I want a quick recapture. AMC, unfortunately, has been selling all day. We pushed for the first 3 minutes, and since then, they've been selling it off. It's only down 2.7%. We've seen worse days. I wouldn't say the magnitude is like that incredible, but clearly, just selling all morning. We've seen little pockets of buying, but I'm curious what's really going on here. Would you check the flow on FFIE? Very bullish, 65 to 35 in favor of the bulls. Hey Matt, thoughts on Beam high short interest? I guess I say this daily, and I do think it's important for me to reiterate. Just because something has high short interest does not mean it's a good play. This one has a high short interest of 32%, shares on loan of 3.2 million, utilization of 91%. So for this one to be a little bit more interesting, I would want to see the utilization go higher, specifically above 95, 97%. I would want to check if it's on a threshold list. And other than that, I would want to see this one. It looks like I would want to see a bend back around 32-ish. So it's there, but I'm not just going to simply... just because something has a high short interest does not make it a good play. And I think with the craziness in AMC and GME, there are some, especially newer apes, who conflate that idea. They're like, oh, it's a high short interest. It must mean it's going to explode. And that's actually just actually at odds with the statistics of the situation. Most highly shorted stocks do not perform well. We're looking for those rarities that buck the trend. ATER above 13, interesting. Hang on, let me go to this. ATER holding up there. BBIG. BBIG also in its own. I mean, everything seems to be downtrending today right now. IRNT, HBLX. How's this one holding up? What was the HB, the movie theater one? HBIL? HBHI? LX? I don't know. Someone will let me know. Well, what's that other movie theater one that was going like nuts today? LCID. LCID's having a good day, up 6.5%. Lucid, trucking along. Hey Matt, thanks for all your knowledge and transparency for the community. Thoughts on Gevo and new jet fuel? I haven't really been tracking the storyline and the narrative behind Gevo. Of course, people ask me about it, and I'm like a little familiar with its chart. But from a fundamental perspective, I don't stay up to date on its news. The chart is looking weak though, so I have no position. I'm trying to give you like an unbiased opinion of it, but it is selling off. So even if it has new jet fuel, it seems like the market's not reacting the best to it. You would want it to hold 6. If it bounces off of 6, I think you're in business. But I mean, it's just been selling since September 10th. Higher party waiting for Aaron to get his shares to third party for retirement so he can benefit from the squeeze, grabbing at straws. I think that's a bit too tinfoil hat because he's doing that 10B plan. So all of his trades are set out way, way far in advance, like super far in advance. What was it? HLBZ. HLBZ. Is that one holding? It's actually fighting back a little bit on the day. Seems like it needs to get back above 36, 37. Just partnership news, both Fox and Amazon. Good for that company. And if you somehow made money on that, huge congratulations. I think someone knew something though, because the option chain on it yesterday was pretty bloated. Tiblio was showing us that the current call open interest was a pretty dramatic increase from the previous days and sessions. It was definitely on the list. Not too much going on yet, but we're also waiting for 10:30. How's IRNT doing? How's IWM doing? Man, we're just seeing selling once again. We're not getting this this turnaround Tuesday yet, but remember, we're only about 40 minutes into the day. Trends can easily change throughout the day. Right now, I mean, the overall market had a nice push for the first 20 minutes, and then it started to get hit. We're looking to see how much strength the current bears actually have. Thinking of buying 1,000 shares in AMC at next level of support. Do you think aiming at 2 levels below where we are now is a good plan? Yeah, I mean, the deeper the support, theoretically, the better. But you're also risking maybe it doesn't get there then. So, like, that's kind of the risk reward of playing that way of, like, you might not get the fill, but if you get the fill, it would be technically a better fill because you bought more shares at a cheaper price. So that's the market. That's the casino nature of the market. When POTUS started his speech this morning, stocks started to drop. Oh, I didn't realize he was speaking today. I thought he was actually speaking. What is he saying? President Biden addresses the United Nations General Assembly. Yeah, whatever's going on, the market is not reacting the best to Biden's comments, unfortunately. Shoot, I don't know why. I really thought he was talking tomorrow. Like, I just put his announcement the same day as the Fed announcement, which is tomorrow. So the Fed's definitely talking tomorrow. I just didn't realize he was. I got my own schedule calendar mixed up. Shoot. Does anyone have the quick breakdown on what he is or isn't saying that's causing the market to drop? What is this? Tesla thoughts. TSLA. Tesla. Looks like EV is having a good day. Tesla, I like it as a gap. Well, I just like it up to 750. I really, really do. It's trading at 740 right now. We have a gap fill. 750 is a nice psychological target. It's a magnet. And above it, really, you can, this gap fill up to 750, you might get that nice push to 760. Tesla, the market has been selling off, but Tesla on a relative basis has actually been acting stronger. Tesla's having a good day right now. Just did a few hours of TI and PHUB. Not sure what's going on over there, but there's like 100% chance of some naked shorting. Interesting. Shout out Matthew Rico. When POTUS started, all right, we had that. Converted all options into stock, not selling until the shorts cover. The dips are actually more beneficial to me. Buying and chilling. See you on the moon. Shout out Corey. I keep hearing that the market's crash will create the mother of all short squeezes, but if the hedges or shorting stocks aren't they making more capital now if the market's going up? Well, it does somewhat depend on their other positions. I don't know who is pushing this rhetoric of the mother of all short squeezes, like triggering, or a market sell-off triggering the mother of all short squeezes. I don't know who's pushing that. I think it's a little bit dishonest because it truly could go either way. I've been talking about this for a bit now. In a market sell-off, you have a bunch of Wall Street who is feeling pressure. The question is, who is going to feel pressure more rapidly and at a greater magnitude? The people who are long on AMC and be like, okay, we have some profits here, so like, let's just take them to help the rest of our book. Or is it going to be the shorts betting against AMC and they're going to be like, hang on, like, we're done with this play, we need to worry about our other positions? It's a race against time. Who is going to feel the pressure and who's going to feel it more rapidly? The people supporting AMC, as in the people on Wall Street, or the people against AMC, as in the other people on Wall Street? We're looking at the big money and the type of pressure they're feeling. To say that an entire market sell-off is the thing that will trigger a mother of all short squeezes, no. It might, and I mean, I could see a world in which that does happen, but to like just tie that together, if you're asking me, it just sounds like someone's trying to put out like a video or a comment or a DD thread and just get likes and views and try to make people feel better. Not gonna lie, I'm a little sad when we get utilization close to 90 to 95% for AMC, and when these companies are like, well, I will lend more shares out. How many more shares are they going to have to be bought even when we get over 60 again? I mean, it's up to them. It's if you own it, you have the legal right to lend it out. So right now, I think we're talking about 115, 120 million at this moment in time that could theoretically be lent out. But really, I mean, there is a and I don't think that this is going to happen, but technically that number can just keep growing because as you lend it out, they short it, there's a new owner, that new owner can lend theirs out. That entire process is called rehypothecation, and there's not necessarily an end to it. But for example, AMC today, there's about, let's just call it 1 million. So what we're seeing today is AMC has traded almost 18 million. So 1 in 18 could theoretically be short today. 1 in 18 shares could. But also you're seeing panic. There are people who are long on AMC, or they were at the start of the day, who are now panicking. These big players, their job is to protect their book. And if they feel like if they're of the opinion that it's going to go down, they're going to take their win right now, and they have to watch their risk. So today, when you see a sell-off, you can't just simply sit there and be like, oh, it's selling off just because of shorts. Yeah, some shorts are involved, but then you also have people getting out of their long position. It could be retail, it could be Wall Street. My best guess, what I think is like actual reality, I think it's a combo of all of it. I think AMC was shorted today. I think some big players got out, and I think some retail got out. I think it's a good old smorgasbord of all forms of selling. We've seen this before, this systematic selling early in the morning. It ends up basing, and then it ends up pushing for the remainder of the day. So because of that, I'm personally not worried, but that's also me. I'm worried about my own P&L, and I take care of my own trading account. You got to do what's best for you. But we've seen this before when we've seen very systematic robotic selling off for the first whatever portion of the morning, and then it ends up basing, and it does like just this crazy V-shaped recovery. Someone just said we own the float. We do not own the float. The most recent number we had was in June, and we owned about 80% of the float. So we owned 4/5 of the pie. But that was also early June. We're now talking about late September. Things change, and in all reality, we might own more or less. We don't know how much float we own right now. But to say we own the float, it's a very good sound bit, and I get the ethos behind it. But sometimes when it comes to the stock market and numbers, you need to dive into what's technically, factually 100% accurate. And it is not technically true to say we own the float. I get the ethos behind it, as in we own a lot of the float. We do. Retail owns a considerable hefty portion of the float, but there is a considerable difference between even 99 and 100%. There's a big difference in owning all of the float versus owning most of it, but that leftover little portion that we don't own, that could be freely traded, and that's what influences the stock price. The dark pools own the float. Dark pools don't own anything. Nothing is owned on a dark pool. How would most retailers have access to dark pools? Seems like you're missing the part of your analysis of shorts buying there and sell on it. Any of us could easily get access to a dark pool. Like, you could trade on a dark pool. I could trade on a dark pool. If you're on things like Interactive Brokers, Fidelity, E-Trade, like more of these well-established brokerages, like outside of the world of Robinhood and Webull, you can route your orders to a dark pool. Retail, not all dark pools. Like there's about 40 major dark pools, but retail has access to some of the main dark pools for sure. Seems like you're missing the part of the analysis of shorts buying there to sell on. It doesn't matter where they're buying or where they're selling because it still all has the same impact on price. It doesn't matter. Nice hair. As always, can you take a look at QuantumScape 4-hour chart looking crazy? What's going on with QuantumScape today? Whoa, some sort of announcement. That's kind of good because QuantumScape has been trending downward, so it's nice to see some bullish action. I would be looking for QuantumScape to get and hold above 25, but QuantumScape, as you can see, has had quite the fall from grace. At one point, it was all the way up at 140. So it would be nice to see some turnaround in this. This is in the world of EV. They're working, I believe, on fuel cells, something to do with the batteries. So I want them to be successful. So I don't know if there was some sort of announcement or whatever is going on, but some bulls pouring into QS, and hey, that makes me happy. Dark pool was made just to not affect the price, so that is not accurate. That is not why dark pools are made. Dark pools were made so your sitting buy orders and your sitting sell orders do not affect the price. No one has ever said that dark pools were made so trading doesn't affect the price. That is completely inaccurate. That is a complete misunderstanding of what a dark pool is for. I'll repeat that one more time. What is the utility of a dark pool? The utility of a dark pool is so that your sitting buy orders and your sitting sell orders do not have an impact on the price. But once again, when you trade on a dark pool, if your buy order is hit, if your sell order is hit, when your trade goes through, that does have a material impact on the price of an asset. How could the Evergrande disaster be good for AMC? One scenario in which it could be good, and I don't think there's many. The one scenario is in which Evergrande has an impact on the market feels the pressure, and the shorts feel the pressure to cover. But specifically in that scenario, you would want the shorts to feel the pressure, the people betting against AMC, before the longs in AMC feel the pressure. It's a race to the bottom of who's going to feel more extreme pressure and who's going to feel it more rapidly. The people who are supporting AMC and GME, or the people who are against AMC or GME. I would not say it's a guarantee in any way, because you don't know. You don't know the risk tolerance. You don't know how people have their positions hedged. We don't know. We're going to have to see it play out in real time. But to simply state that the Evergrande situation or a market sell-off would clearly trigger the mother of all short squeezes, that's wrong. That is definitely wrong. Workhorse utilization in short has 100% utilization and a short interest of 36%, but I don't believe Workhorse is on the threshold list, and we also don't see buyers coming into Workhorse. With the latter, the lack of buyers being the biggest issue, and that's not fun for me to say. I'm invested in Workhorse. I want Workhorse to go up, but I also can't gaslight anyone. The reality of Workhorse is all it's been doing is selling off since late June. Sounds like you've changed your position on dark pools. No, I think I've actually been one of the few people who's been explaining dark pools the exact same accurately ever since the start. And that's also why I've gone out of my way to bring on Dave Lauer 3 separate times to explain exactly what dark pools are and how they function. I've never been changing my opinion on dark pools. Hey, Matt, appreciate you. I'm in high school. I'm a high school teacher and listening during my planning. Friday, I'm teaching Tulip Mania and the stock market. Still long on tulips. Shout out Tyler. I think they're going to like the Tulip Mania thing. Office Space. Yeah. Could you maybe make AMC go up now? That would be great. Thanks, Matt. What a good movie. Office Space. Classic comedy. So what's going on with SDC? I see more people commenting about that. SDC still looks like it wants to gap fill back down to $6. It's trading at $6.39 right now. So really not far, and you might get a nice bounce off of that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a push back up to $7.50. But with that being said, I don't have an SDC position. Wendy, wait, what was this? I'm out of here. Okay, Wendy, as J Mar would say, this is not an airport. You do not have to announce your departure. Shout out to J Mar. I always thought that was hilarious. Been here, and I'll tell you, all these fluctuations in price is building up my tolerance. Yeah, I mean, I think we have different apes who've come in at different times. And so everyone's on their own like little learning journey. And with it, I think you end up getting battle tested at different times. So there have been many, I guess, battle tested apes who've been in AMC and GME since, like, I'm saying, like, we have some OGs in here right here who have been in since January, and they've been through this. They're like, okay, this sucks. And it's almost as if the emotions have been beaten out of them, like their emotional reaction. They're like, okay, we've seen this before. We've seen a systematic sell-off. And just through their trials and tribulations, they've learned that basically it ends up basing, and it thus far over the past 6 months, when we've seen things like this, it bases and it ends up popping back. Obviously that's the pattern, and not all patterns are always there for like the remainder of time, but that has definitely been what we've seen in AMC and GME. So I'm sticking to that plan because it's the pattern that we've just been seeing, especially on days like today. Man, this perfect bull flag where it's trading upward and then they have that parallel channel downward. We've seen this, especially when it's just selling all morning. I can't guarantee squat, but the previous times that we've seen this, I mean, honestly, it's one of those weird magic things where there's that good chance that by the end of the day, we're kind of making the jokes of like moment in silence for all those people who sold early this morning. I don't know how today's going to play out, but I do know that we've been in similar scenarios like this. And the previous times that I've been in scenarios like this, fast forward a couple days, I'm pretty happy that I end up holding through the pain. I don't have emotions, January 8th here. So question before I take a nap. So AMC quarter shows 2 to 3x income, what they thought it would be. If a company is doing good normally, the stock shows. What if they keep it down? That might happen. Yeah, but you would argue that the stock is doing extremely well. Don't forget, AMC is up 1,700% from the start of the year till now. In terms of stock performance, gaining borderline 2,000% year to date it's beyond phenomenal performance. Hey, Matt, everyone always asks how the short squeeze could happen, but how can Citadel avoid it? Can they? It depends. Are you talking about Citadel, the market maker, or Citadel, the hedge fund? Because, for example, no one actually knows if Citadel, the hedge fund, has a short position. No one knows that. No one's ever had that shred of evidence because part of that is because shorts are not reported. Right now in those 13F quarterly filings, you have to report your long positions, your calls, and your puts, but not your shorts. So if we're talking about Citadel, the hedge fund, Citadel has become symbolic in a certain sense of the hedge funds that we are going against. And it's basically because of its tie to Robinhood and them stopping the purchasing of AMC and GME back in late January, early February. But no one's actually ever shown evidence that Citadel, the hedge fund, is short against AMC. They might be, but we actually, no one's ever had that evidence. But if you're talking about Citadel Securities, the market maker, that's who I personally have specific issues with. And the reason for that is just because I think the way the duopoly between market makers right now is in our current system is very dangerous for our current system. This entire concept of payment for order flow and segmenting the entire retail trading public, I just don't see how it could be good for the market. And Citadel Securities is numero uno in that game. I remember when I bought it at 17, then it dropped to 5 and I still didn't sell. Only regret was not buying more. Remember how big and international the community is? We are the whale. Theory on US EV markets going up. People living Chinese EV markets from Evergrande pushing up the other options as they were bullish there. Oh, I think that's a pretty viable theory. What are your thoughts on RWLK? RWLK. Medical specialties, and it was recently a penny stock. I shouldn't say recently. I mean, it's showing a lot of strength today, but this is one day of strength in a sell-off literally since mid-Feb. So it's been selling off all year. So if you're in it, to me, this is something that may be a viable, quick trade, you're in and out. I wouldn't be willing to be I'm about to become a medium to long-term investor in it. I'm assuming it's up on some sort of news. I mean, it's up 42%. So it's a bit chasey right now. And I'm never, ever going to be supportive of anyone chasing. So you'd have to identify what's your risk point. Are you going to risk this recent resistance at 160? Because if so, that's a bit closer, and I think that's a bit more palatable. I just don't know much about it. You're going to have to dive into, why is it up? Do you think the news will carry over? Is it just a one-day thing? Is it a flash in the pan? Will it be there for a week, a month? Is whatever the news is completely pivoting the company, and now this is a worthwhile long-term investment? So for RWLK, what I'm seeing in the chart, I'm not the biggest fan of. For a medium to long-term investment, if you want to quickly day trade it because you think it's going to push to 2, I mean, I wish you the best of luck. That's not my favorite trading style, but still, I would more so want to dive into the news and figure out why is it moving. Where is Keenan Grace getting his list of top 3 short positions in AMC? It shows Citadel is 3rd, but is that real data? I don't know where he's getting it. All I can tell you is that short positions are not forced to be reported. Some people have publicly stated it, like Jim Chanos, Iceberg Research. There's some people who have publicly shared that they're short, but they don't have to report short positions. So I don't know where Keenan got that list, but I can tell you that Citadel has never said that they're publicly short. Citadel, the hedge fund. Market makers aren't really in the business of announcing their positions like that because they're market makers. They're more focused on providing liquidity. But Citadel, the hedge fund, has never reported because you don't have to report that you're short. But beyond that, they've never publicly stated that they're short. So I don't know where he got that information. Remember 888, Matt? I do that is where I purchase my XXXX shares. Shout out Matt's Duck Suspenders. Have you read the Benzinga article this morning regarding institutions trading 60% in dark pools and 40% lit and only 8% on the NYSE? Yeah. With that one, the Benzinga article, I'm going to reach out because the data is contradictory to the other data sets that I have. So one of them's wrong. And when it comes to data, I don't care who's right or wrong. I just want to know the right one so we can talk about it. But it does seem high. I think 60% of trading on AMC and probably GME has happened off exchange, but I wouldn't say that that's all dark pool. Is Matthew saying Citadel, which is run by Kenneth Griffin, never stated that they were short AMC? Correct. Kenneth Griffin, the owner and operator of both Citadel Securities and Citadel, the hedge fund, basically Citadel, like LLC, has never publicly stated that they are short on AMC or GME. They have no public statement suggesting that. That doesn't mean that they aren't. They might be, they might not be as the hedge fund. I'm just saying, like, I mean, it is, to me, this is one of the problems that why in a million years, why did they ever think with 13F filings that they never had to report shorts? I don't understand who is sitting there and they're like, okay, we're going to do long positions. We're going to do calls. We're going to do puts. Like, who in the room was like, oh, yeah, but we don't need shorts? Like, that's the one thing about 13F filings that blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. I just don't get it. And I can't fathom to understand who made that argument and what their argument was. But just so you know, there is currently a bill in Senate talking about the 13F filings that would also increase the cadence. Instead of it being quarterly, it would go to monthly. And they're also looking to make them report their short positions. So that's currently being discussed by our government. I mean, I wouldn't hold our breath on it, but maybe we're making some headway there. If the 60% is dark pool, would that still mean 60% is off exchange? Correct. Perhaps the two data sources are both correct, but it's a matter of semantics and specific reporting disaggregation. No, so the data I have is that the data I've been looking at, which is like from government reports, like you could check this out, OTC transparency. All right, you go to OTC. This is like the official FINRA website. So remember, OTC means off exchange, but this right here is going to be non-dark pools. So ATS, think dark pool. ATS, alternative trading system, AKA dark pool. So ATS, these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all relate to dark pools. And then this OTC stuff, this all relates to market makers. So OTC, think market maker, ATS, think dark pool. So anyway, we have right here, OTC is specifically non-ATS. If you look this up, do we have we only have up to July, because remember, this is reported kind of in like a slow manner. So if you look at these numbers, you can come to this. So this is for market makers, OTC, non-ATS, AMC. Once again, it's otctransparency.finra.org for you to check out the numbers. So in the month of July 2021, there were about 1.1, let's call it 1.2 billion shares of AMC traded by Virtu and Citadel. Numero uno, numero dos. These are the duopoly. It looks like Virtu traded about 500 million, and then Citadel traded about 400 million. So a high majority. I mean, between these two, what we're looking at, 0.8 billion, 0.9 billion out of a total of 1.2. That's what I'm saying. There's like that duopoly. But anyway, so market makers ended up trading 1.2 billion in the month of July. Let me write that down just so we can do some numbers. So AMC, let me write this down. AMC July 2021, they traded 1.175. And once again, this is off exchange, but it's not dark pool. It's market makers. All right. And I could post this in the description of the video later on, but let me just go find the actual dark pool information. AMC. And we're going to compare this to the month of July. Unfortunately, for some reason, they do it in a way. I think I need, what's it? Tier 2 AM. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to get the dark pool stuff, you have to come to this one, go to ATS issue data, and then go to tier 2. And remember, it's a little bit slow to load. But anyway, we can go through the individual weeks and then add these up. It's 17.7 million. 17.7 million. That's for the first week. And then for the second week, we are at AMC. We are at 26.6 million. 26.6 million. And then for the third week, right here, the 19th, we are at how much? AMC. We are at 23.5 million. And then for the final week of July, AMC, 13.7 million. And then finally, we might as well go up to August 2nd because it would include some days in July. So I'm going to include that as well, just to make sure we're capturing all the data we need to properly capture. AMC is 16.7 million. All right, 16.7 million. All right, let me go back to the charts while I add this up just so we can all see the numbers. All right. So to add up those 5 individual weeks, we are at 17.7 plus 26.6 plus 23.5 plus 13.7 plus 16.7. Okay, so we're at 98.2 million. 98.2 million. We can just round that up to 100 million. So basically, we're in a scenario in the month of July 2021 for AMC. The amount of off exchange trading was about 1.275 billion shares. 1.275 billion shares. And out of that 1.275, 1.175 was market makers. And 100 million of that was on dark pools. So right there, you can see that's why I think it's weird that all of a sudden in the month of July, like, where are we getting that a huge amount is on dark pools when really the big amount is by market makers? Like that's such a dominant number. In fact, 1.175 divided by 1.175 divided by 1.275. 92% of off-exchange trading was done by market makers. 8% was done by dark pools. And once again, that's for July. So maybe something changed recently in August. Maybe something changed in September. But also, if it is changing, where are they getting that data? Because this is the data I'm using. I'm using the official FINRA website where they have the dark pool stuff. Remember, dark pool is ATS and market makers are OTC, specifically non-ATS. So when Benzinga comes out with articles like this, investors might be interested in the fact that about 60% of the volume for the last 30 days has been traded by institutions over the dark pool compared to 40% on lit markets. I just don't know where they're getting this data. It's that maybe it's right, but I'm just saying, here's the data I have. It's for the month of July. Actually, let's see what monthly. Yeah, it only goes up. What do we have weekly? So we do, I guess, have August. Can I do this individually? No, I can't. I need unless they have the tier 2 on it. They do have it. Okay, so I could go through and I can at least get you all of August. So it doesn't look like the September numbers are loaded in quite yet. So I could do August, but at least for the month of July, out of that off-exchange trading, it was dominated by market makers, not dark pools. And the reason why I'm talking about this and the reason why I think it's so important is because as a community, we have to have a well-defined, I guess, demand of what do we want change. You can't I guess, just start calling on the government and calling on the SEC and calling on Wall Street and say, fix the manipulation, like fix the problems. We don't like these problems. You got to fix it. The system's not fair. That sounds good, like it's a good sound bit, but that's not something that's ever actionable to them. Trust me, if you want to actually get change done, you need to be so hyper specific about what the issues are, why they're issues, and really, most likely, a plan on how to fix them. Like, we almost have to spoon feed our government officials on the exact problem and our facts and figures on why it's a problem, and also how to fix said problem. We can't just sit here and pound our fists and be like, I'm an ape, there's manipulation, you got to fix the manipulation. If we're simply just saying manipulation over and over and over again, they're going to laugh at us, especially if we come at them with the wrong numbers and the wrong facts. Like, imagine how it would go this way. Imagine that the community gets to such a size that the government takes us even more seriously than they are. I think they are currently listening to us. But imagine if that's the argument. Imagine if they come in here and they read this and they're like, oh, okay, like these apes seem to think that 60% is happening in a dark pool. Well, you know what the SEC is going to do? The first thing they're going to do is look into that and say, oh, I wonder if 60% of trading is happening in dark pools. And then they're going to look into the figure and be like, well, our data doesn't suggest that at all, which means one of two things. Either we're wrong and we're not using the right data, or their data is wrong and they're going to dive into it. And like, I guess that's a fair additional thing that could be discussed by anyone of like, okay, who has the right data? But right now, the publicly available data is very much contradictory to some of these statements being made. Someone is saying that eToro is halting AMC trading. That doesn't... Can anyone confirm that? I'm sorry. Like, I know eToro, I think, is bigger over in the UK, but I'm seeing a couple people are saying crap about eToro. Can someone confirm or deny if you're able to trade AMC on eToro right now? I'm seeing some comments about it. Every few minutes. Flash sale, Ethereum is under 3,000. The problem is them pretending Citadel Connect isn't a dark pool when it fully functions like one, provides no transparency, 60% of trades. Do I think that's... Well, Citadel Connect is the mechanism that Citadel is using to fulfill the order. So it's still a market maker. Like, they're still all ending up there because of payment for order flow and people routing their orders to Citadel. Citadel Connect, like, the issue is still market makers and payment for order flow. I don't really care what technology they use to fulfill the orders. Rant more, it's starting to work. Hey, Matt, any idea what is happening with Uber? It's having a massive volume day. I have a position at 39 since August. What is happening with Uber? Wow, definitely a lot of volume. A huge gap. Had to be some sort of announcement, right? Oh, earnings. It looks like it beat on earnings. So congrats if you're in Uber. SLDB looks bullish on the day. SLDB. Yeah, it does. I'm not the biggest fan just because of the sector it's in. I don't have enough knowledge about the biotech world to know like the winning drugs, the losing drugs. That's just not my area of expertise. UROY, uranium. UROY, Uranium Royalty Corp. Interesting. So it sold off and then gapped up. Today we have a little gap. Interesting. Uranium has just been a very interesting trade as of late. Very, very interesting, in fact. It had a huge push, and now it's taking a breather. But the question is for uranium just at large in general. What will it be doing? Is it going to just base and continue to rip, or is like the fun over? I don't know. It's a tough trade. Hang on, what is this? Is this new? Nope. News on AMCX. I love that entire, I don't know, debacle. The AMC versus AMCX thing. Very, very interesting. I know you're big on IPO, but would you give your thoughts on SPIR? Strong opening, geez. It went from 9 all the way up to 1674. Spire Global. I mean, it's looking strong. Oh wait, now it's been trading though since the start of August. So really, I mean, ever since September 16th, this thing started moving. Financial conglomerate. Of course, it's another financial conglomerate. Interesting. I don't know what they do. I guess I need to look into it. I'm not going to buy it a new all-time high, but it's clearly showing some strength. Clearly showing some strength, flexing those muscles. AMC is trading at 38.60. GME is trading at 190.50. IWM is at 216, and then SPY is at 433. Man, the SPY is just not looking good, and I'm surprised. It's bucking the trend of turnaround Tuesday, and this kind of tells you, I guess in a certain way, it's indicative of the seriousness of our debt ceiling, the Fed meeting, whatever Biden said this morning, and Evergrande, and the seasonal weakness of September. This turnaround Tuesday. Thus far, it's 10.50, and obviously we've seen crazier things where it looks weak, and then the second half of the day, it's just that V-shaped recovery. Obviously, that still can happen. Just because you trend a certain way for the first hour and a half, that doesn't mean it has to be the trend for the entire day. In fact, we were looking good up until around 9:50, 10 a.m., and then it sold off. It tried to catch itself, and then recently just broke down. And in my futures, not that anyone really cares about my futures account, but it was on this breakdown of 434.50 at around, I don't know, recently, that I got out of my long position. I myself tried to play Turnaround Tuesday. It just cost me like $5,000. I felt very confident in it, and I just got beat up, and it hit my risk. So I'll let you know if it ends up catching on, like maybe if I could get the bottom of a V. But this, to me, it's representative of the true nature of some of these external factors facing the market right now. This is just like yesterday, where what is going on, I do not believe in any way really relates to an individual company. I mean, Russell 2000 is down 0.5%. The NASDAQ 100 is down 0.14. The SPY is down 0.16. Those numbers don't sound that bad. But remember, they gapped up this morning. All of these indices gapped up, so they sold off all of their gain, and now they're in the red territory. So the percentage dip in the indices, I think, is understating how much they've actually sold today. And I think the sell-off in our major market is having an impact on AMC, GME, all these other stocks. How do you use Tiblio for options trading, Gav? There's quite a few ways to do it. I think a good place to get started is with the credit spreads. This is kind of their bread and butter. I also like to check out the bull squeeze and bear squeeze indicators, but I think credit spread's a great place to get started. Remember, you're selling the first one, you're buying the second one, but it has like your percentage max return, your max loss, your percent of profitability. It lays it out nicely. But just remember, with the credit spread, I do have videos kind of more in depth explaining what they are and aren't. So you might want to watch one of those just so you feel more comfortable with like what in the world is a credit spread. But remember, in terms of Tiblio, you would sell the first one, you sell the SPY 452 call, and you buy the second one. You would buy the SPY 453 call. Credit spreads involve two different options, either two calls or two puts. You would never mix and match. Is AMC chart, day chart, forming a cup and handle? It depends if we get the actual handle. Like, we would need the bend back around. And I think that could be somewhat argued on the gap fill up to 44.20. Thoughts on XDLA? To me, XDLA looks pretty weak, in my opinion. Can you look at UBSFY? UBSFY. UBSFY. So this is on a different, this trades on the gray market. You can tell by the 5 letters. Usually that's a mutual fund or it trades on the gray market. I don't trade on things that aren't listed on a normal market. UBSFY, the 5 letters. You could even see the fact that it's delayed in the OTC market right here. So I personally wouldn't mess with it just because these markets are less regulated. So if you think you have issues with the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ not being regulated enough, you're going to have serious issues and qualms with the gray market. All right, I think I'm finally up to date. All right, so how is crypto doing? Are we bound? Ooh, crypto's still looking a bit weak, team. Ethereum sub 3,000, Bitcoin sub 43,000, Cardano at 210, Solana at 136. Crypto's getting hit. I'm just waiting, patience until it turns back around. Like, we need some buyers to step in, and then I'll probably dip buy crypto. Thoughts on SPIR? Isn't that the one we just checked out? Yeah, we just did a quick breakdown of this. It's looking strong, but I think it's a bit silly to chase. I mean, it's up 30% on the day, 53% on the year, 67% on the week. I'm not going to chase something that's up 67% on the week. It's just, whenever you get into chasing, when you see these massive gains, you're increasing the risk of you being a bag holder. All right, what do we need? 4, 3. All right. So we did that. What other discussions do we have going on? Thoughts on Cardano? I still like Cardano. I mean, Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Hex, Doge, all of those, I kind of just view them as it's a long-term hold. Like, I'm not going to actively trade any of those things. I'm going to buy on weakness, and I'm going to hold it for multiple years and see how right or wrong I actually am. Someone's asking about ARQQ. I'm invested in either all or all but one of the ARK Invest ETFs in my long-term portfolio. All but one. I think, or maybe I did finally buy all. Could you take a look at MacCoin.io website? It comes up as a video, official currency of McDonald's. Okay, I haven't heard of that. It comes out a video and as if it were the official currency of McDonald's. I'm gonna have to look a bit into that. I can't play a video right now because I don't know about like the copyright or anything related to it. Don't want to get in more trouble with YouTube, but I'll check that out on break. Speaking of which, break is in about a couple minutes, just so everyone knows. I will be back at the latest at 2 p.m. Eastern. If something crazy happens, I'm going to hop back on, but we're sticking with that normal schedule of 9 to 11, 2 to 4. Like I said, if something crazy happens, I'll start the stream even earlier. But this one will be concluding in momentarily. What do you think about Roblox, RBLX? I like it. I think it's a great long-term hold. I'm a fan of esports. That company seems to be pulling it off well. A lot of people like Roblox. I like it. Do you think AMC will touch 29 again? Where are the support levels? It might. I have different levels way before 29 that I'd be concerned with. I'm first watching 37 is my next level of support. I play it much, I guess, differently of like, I just watch level to level to level. ARKQ. All of the arcs start with an ARK. Q, W, F, G, F, and X, I want to say is that new one, the space one. But those are all run by Kathy Wood from ARK Invest, ARK. And then you just change that last letter. Why is AMC going down? Selling. The supply is outweighing the demand. Thoughts on KPLT, 99% utilization, 30% short interest, also gap fill up to 950. And on top of that, it's actually on the FTD list. So I like KPLT, and I've been calling that. I think the gap fills up to 930, but I think it's I don't own KPLT. I'm not playing it, but I do think it's a pretty nice gap fill up to 930. All right, folks, that is it for the morning session. Like I said, I'll be back at 2 p.m. Eastern. If something crazy happens, I'll come back on earlier. I just need to take care of some other work. Thank you for all your support this morning. Remember, stick to your plan. Create your own trading plan. Have an if-then statement. If this happens, then I'll do this. If your if is not hit, if your conditions are not hit, well, don't do anything then. That's not your trading plan. Stick to your trading plan. Thank you so much for all the support. I will be back later on this afternoon. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy your midday. I'll catch all of you very, very soon.